Hello, I'm Benson and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you some slate engraving, and these are done by the LaserPecker 4. I really want to show you guys what this laser can and can't do. Now the best thing to do with any kind of slate engraving is obviously test and get the right result for your laser. There's no two material the same, and there's no two laser is the same as well. So make sure you get the focus distance correctly and make sure you get the power correct, and then you get some relatively good results. Compared to the other dial laser I have before, LaserPecker used their own kind of a measurement in terms of power and speed. What I find is the LaserPecker Design Studio, which is their own software, is very good at converting photos into actual engraving. So they are kind of user-friendly, but at the same time it's very limited if you are used to light burn and tons of customization. For example, the DPI, which is the dot per inch, LaserPecker only come with like their own version of like 1K, 2K, 4K, 6K, 8K or something like that. But I use mainly 2K for all my engraving because I find that is a sweet spot for the laser dot size of the 1064 nanometer. Equivalent wise, that is about 600 DPI. It does give you some precise print, almost like printing on a piece of paper. But let me explain. So first of all, slate. All my slates are secondhand. They were originally coasters, and I think someone donated to me. Save it from going to the landfill. And the picture itself, I don't create them. They are all AI generated. I'm not as talented as some other individuals, but these are just simple download from Facebook group. In terms of preparation, some of them I prep them, some of them don't, but I always spray them with a clear lacquer before I start. So let's start with my personal favorite. So for example, my favorite so far is this one here. And this is my favorite for a couple of reasons. First, the details on the face and the eyes. I mean, I can even see the catch light from the eyes of this AI generated lady here. And this one was done by using the LaserPecker 4 at 2K, 100 power, 80 depth, and 2 passes. And almost like, 2 hours to get this done. And the size is, I think, is 100 by 100. And the reason why this is my favorite is that I do like the slate texture. You can see some grain running through horizontally. And when it catches the light, you can actually see the ridges on the surface. This is actually clear coat on top after the engraving. And that means that when I spill drink on it, most likely this face won't change color. As a hobby, I'm more than happy to spend a couple of hours on a slate that I'm going to put it on my own computer table and see it daily. But as a commercial, or if you're making it as a gift and you're making tons of this, there's no way you can spend 2 hours on each of these small pieces of slate. Now, if you spend less time, the laser is quite limited in terms of power because I'm already using 100% power. So it's just like, how many passes and how slow the laser is going across the slate. So this one here, slightly darker, obviously more power, the lighter the color of the engraving with this wavelength. So this one was done at 2K, 100 power and 100 depth. And this one is about 45 minutes. And you can see that, after the coating, and it becomes less vibrant. And this one here, again, even darker than those two. And this one was done at 2K, 100, but only 50% depth. So this is about half an hour, maybe. So what if you make a mistake? So there is a lot of tiles that I have been practiced with. Sometimes I use like kind of sometimes it's a burn test. So the LaserPecker Design Studio now have the function to create tests. So sometimes I use the slate for testing. So one of the biggest tip that I have learned from the internet and I can share with you guys right now is that you can actually send them over to redo them. So here I got a piece of coaster which I engraved, but it's a failed print or a failed burn because like it wasn't deep enough. And when I apply lacquer on it, it kind of destroyed the overall look. So what I'm going to do is try to rescue this. So first I'm going to clamp it down here. You don't have to, you can leave it on the table, but for me I find it easier when I do it this way. So there's going to be loads of noise and vibration, but hopefully you can still see what I'm trying to do here to rescue this piece of slate. Here I got a 240 grit sandpaper here on my multi-tool, and it's going to be very noisy and dusty, so please bear with me. Okay, so it might not look much now because, like, you know, the 240 grit will give you a very smooth surface, and you can tell it started with some textured surface. Obviously, the more you sand it, the more aggressive you go with it, the less texture is going to be left behind. But don't worry, as soon as you spray something on it, doesn't really matter what brand you use. I just use whatever I have in the studio right now. Now, I usually do it on the outdoor, but just to show you guys what happens when you spray lacquer on a prepared surface. And when it dries, it will even out the color. So just to show you, I got two pieces of slate here. Both of them are fail burn. So this one, I erased the image by doing the same thing and then sprayed it with the lacquer. And this one, obviously, the lacquer is still a bit wet. Now, because you sand it down smooth, what I find is the setting is completely different. In fact, we are going to use Deter, and I have down the contrast and up the brightness, so that gives it a bit more pop. In terms of setting, I'm doing 2K here. So I'm running a 2K 1064, 2 passes, 100 power and 80 depth. So this one is going to take a long time, but I don't really care because I just want a masterpiece for my table. Again, I have to make sure that the print is going to be exactly the same size or slightly bigger than my coaster, so I don't have any blank space. All right, wish me luck. About 1 hour 20 minutes, 1 hour 30 minutes, 1.5 hours, and it results like this. Now, compared to my other tiles, you might see that this has less details than before, but obviously I haven't brushed off the dust or anything like that yet, so let's bring it over there and have a look. I'm going to put the camera down so we can work together with two ends. Okay, so first let's try and get off the dust. There will be a lot of surface dust on the slate. The surface is still smooth because, like, you know, the laser doesn't do a deep engraving, but kind of like engrave only the surface. But let's try it. I sand it down, blast it with higher power, and then coat with 2 coats of clear lacquer. And if you want to have a piece of slate which is unfinished without coating on top, then this is what it will look like once you sand it down and lasered it again. I couldn't sand the side here because there is, we call them different layers and the shapes, so my sandpaper didn't get into rubbing them off, but still it's very much usable if you want to just use it to engrave some picture on top of your old engraving. Just sand off whatever that you have done before and then use the tile again. Now this one has no finish on top, so if you spill something on top, it will ruin the picture until you dries it out. So previously I have lasered it, so I cross out whatever setting that I use. So for this one here is again the 1064 wavelength, 2K, but only 60% power and only 5% depth. So this one done really quickly, and you can see the image is really clear as well. It's almost like printing on paper. But what it does is it will change color when you spray a coat of lacquer on top. I guess it's just kind of a different style. Some people look at it, they know it's a piece of slate, and even though it's flat, but I do like the natural grain on the surface of the slate. All these are done with the effect of dither. So basically the laser firing rapidly and kind of using dots to create the photos. And if you use a different function, for example, if you just want to make a simple logo without shading, then you can like engrave and then just spray lacquer on top, and you can see the white is still a lot whiter than a lot of the photos that I done with higher power. And this one I managed to get away with just 100% power and 50% speed, and he's using the bin function on the LaserPecker Studio Design Studio, and you can see the logo come out really good. So with this kind of machine, if you want to do a logo and simple picture where the laser doesn't have to do shading, perfect. But if you need to start to do like complex shading and stuff like that, this one is already at the limit of how fast or the maximum power it can go. So just a bit of close up here. So this is what I mean, the design logo. So this is using the bin function, where the laser just full power, whatever you set it, left, right, left, right, left, right. So a lot of power can go into engraving this slate, and you can coat it afterwards. And this one right here, I sand it down flat and then start again because I want to reuse the piece of slate. And then I spray 2 clear coat on top to protect it. This photo is more complex with a lot more different shading at different part. Again, it's a recycled tile because I sand it flat from whatever that I engraved on it before. And this one is fast. This one is 60 power and 5% depth. So this one probably 20 minutes or maybe less. So once again, thank you very much for watching. You can use my setting as a starting point, but like I said at the beginning of the video, it's very important that you find out, the setting best for your material and your laser. If you find my information useful, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my channel and help me grow. Can't wait to see you next time with more interesting gadgets. Bye bye.